Hello, everyone. This is Zhou Qing. I'm a student of Gunshan National University. Today, I'm going to present my research proposal on cross-chain interoperability topic. The title of my research is A Study on Blockchain Interoperability Mechanism. My presentation can be divided into 5 parts. Here is the outline of my presentation. First of all, I'll give a brief introduction to my research. That is including the relevant literature of the research findings and mainstream hierarchical cross-chain solutions. Then, give a more detailed description of cross-chain interoperability issues. Thirdly, I will introduce our contribution to the study. In the fourth part, I'll talk about our proposal in more detail. Here, since homogeneous and heterogeneous blockchains are different approaches, we will illustrate them separately. Lastly, I would like to conclude my study and meanwhile point out the scope and limitations and plan the future work. Now let's go to the point. Cross-chain interoperability refers to digital assets and arbitrary information transferred and exchanged between different blockchains. Till now, there are more than 6,000 blockchain projects all over the world. However, they can't communicate with each other, and interoperability has become a bottleneck that hindered the development of this technology. Now, there have been very little theoretical progress in interoperability due to the immaturity of the blockchain technology itself and the tremendous implementation difficulties. Although many interoperability attempts have been made, but there's no major solution that can apply commercial on a large scale. Figure 1 is a timeline for the development of blockchain cross-chain technology. In 2012, the Ripple Lab proposed a ILP protocol for the first time to address interoperation and collaboration between two different blockchains through a third-party notary mechanism. In 2016, Vitalik Buterin published an article titled Chain Interoperability, which made a comprehensive and in-depth analysis of blockchain interoperability issue. In 2017, there are two dominant projects, Cosmos and Polkadot, started. And so far, they are still ongoing. Cross-chain can implement in many different ways. Here, there are 4 methods. Generally speaking, they can divide it into 4 layers. The easiest way is gateway cross-chain, utilizing a third-party gateway to read the data of the source chain and the target chain respective and then process it. This approach may lead to centralized weakness. The most common way is smart contracts cross-chain. That is layer 2 cross-chain. This approach requires the deployment of smart contract on the target chain. However, the target chain may not support a smart contract, and even if the source chain does support it, it may not recognized on the target chain. This method leads only the stakeholders to participate in the consensus, but it does not apply to all blockchains. The most practical implementation method is the communication protocol, which lays a standard communication protocol as an infrastructure at the underlying layer. There's no need to deploy a smart contract on the target chain. And this method requires all nodes to participate in the consensus process. The most complex method is the cross-chain of the system layer, which requires reconstruct the blockchain system. Generally, it's not adopted because it requires a lot of work. Our solution is based on layer 1 cross-chain. Next, we will give a more detailed statement of cross-chain interoperability on layer 1. The cross-chain implementation on layer 1 is quite difficult because the nature of blockchain itself it makes a lot of difficulties. Each blockchain is a separate and complete system, and cross-chain interoperability destroys the original trust domain. Design making in blockchain is based on group consensus rather than a single entity. And each functional module of blockchain is tight coupling and is not easy to deal with in layers. Blockchain based on different consensus mechanisms on different account models and different smart contracts. These different blockchains cannot understand each other. Our object is to propose a common cross-chain interoperability solution on layer 1, with which digital assets and arbitrary information can transfer and exchange between different blockchains on demand. The data across the blockchains need to meet the following 4 requirements. They are reliable, secure, in order, and timely. There are a lot of difficulties to implement these requirements. We should ensure that the cross-chain information is authentic and trustworthy. Ensure that the total amount of token doesn't change due to the cross-chain operation. Otherwise, there will be a double spending. We should ensure the automaticity of the entire cross-chain transaction. We should also make sure to roll back as little as possible when the consensus algorithm is probabilistic. For all the above problems, our research made 3 aspect contributions. First, we summarize the basic requirements of cross-chain interoperability. Second, we propose a TCP-like cross-chain interoperability protocol for the homogeneous blockchains. Third, we propose an interoperability solution between heterogeneous blockchains, which is to construct a new blockchain to store and validate cross-chain data. The basic requirement of a protocol covers four aspects. We need to define a standard interface, define a cross-chain data format, and design automatic algorithm for cross-chain operation, and check whether need permit other nodes operation. Because the core spirit of blockchain is to use cryptography to verify the validity and authenticity of operations, which used to release the majority permission operation of the centralized authorities. Our ideas to realize the protocol including modularity, abstraction, layering. We utilize the Merkle proof to ensure the validity of the state transition. We also adopt locking mechanism to ensure automaticity of the operation. On the basis of above mechanisms, we build a TCP-like cross-chain interoperability protocol for the homogeneous blockchains. And for heterogeneous blockchains, because it's equivalent to reconstruct a new blockchain, we just need to construct the corresponding data and storage structure. Here's our solutions. First, we will talk about the homogeneous blockchains. Figure 2 shows the hierarchical structure of the homogeneous blockchains. We build our protocol between the consensus layer and the module layer. Compared to TCP protocol, we proposed a CCTP protocol correspondingly, and the specific functions as shown in Table 1. Here, light clients used to check the consensus state of the counterparty blockchain, according to which, and together with related Merkle proof, can verify the validity of coming cross-chain transactions. We add a collection interface between two follows to apply for a load resource from the source blockchain and the target blockchain, together with the light client of the counterparty. We can verify the validity of the incoming transactions. Cross-chain data for homogeneous blockchain interoperation as shown in Figure 3. On the source blockchain, the protocol needs to record the cross-chain transaction and its Merkle proof. To ensure the automaticity of the cross-chain transaction and prevent rollback, the block header information where the cross-chain transaction locates also need to record. On the destination blockchain, the validator verifies the authenticity and validity of the incoming transaction and execute it, then generate respective assets and return receipts. Next, for heterogeneous blockchains. Cross-chain data for heterogeneous blockchain interoperation as shown in Figure 4. On the source chain, the data sent to the destination chain includes the cross-chain transactions, validity proof, and suggestions of state transition. The relay chain can ensure an efficient state transfer by comparing the received state root with the state root after execution. After the validators on the relay chain perform a consensus process on the candidate block, it will generate a candidate receipt and forward it to the destination blockchain in a block form. And on the destination chain, the validators construct a proof of validity block and verify this POV block. And Figure 5 is an overall diagram of the cross-chain message access. The hash of cross-chain messages is organized into a Merkle tree structure. When a message is arbitrarily deleted, the structure of this hash tree doesn't change. We also need a bit field to mark whether there's a cross-chain transactions to the destination chain, and a watermark to record the location where the last block was processed. The state of the cross-chain messaging channel is maintained by the relay chain using a two-dimensional table. On the destination chain, the validator node will reconstruct a block according to the original message in the outgoing message queue. Block header of the hash message chain, Merkle proofs on relay chain and Merkle proofs on source chain. The relay chain updates the state, and the sending chain queries the relay chain to know that the message it sends had finally been proposed. Finally, we will make a summary of our research. In this paper, we proposed a general cross-chain interoperability solution for homogeneous blockchains and heterogeneous blockchains, respectively. The solution can solve almost all cross-chain problems of blockchains. However, development is too difficult, especially for heterogeneous blockchains. The cross-chain efficiency is not ideal. This work is just a beginning. In future studies, we will further rationalize some details and remove unnecessary consensus process appropriately, and also simplify the data structure and release some data stored on relay chain. That is all my research. Thank you for your attention. For more details, please refer to the content of my article. Thank you again.